Hey everyone, hey and welcome back to yet another episode of Battle Rap Resume. This is your host Tom Quee. I just want to kick off the episode as I always do by saying thank you for listening. If you'd like to help out the show, please subscribe on iTunes, subscribe on YouTube. Please leave us a comment, leave us a review on iTunes, give us a like, check out the channel. Please subscribe to us on Twitter at Battle Rap Resume. If you enjoy the show and you'd like to give back to the show, go on to patreon.com/Battle Rap Resume. You can help donate in many different ways there. There's sort of lower tier, get you access to loads of exclusive episodes like Resume Review, or I read out the emails that people send in. Please keep sending in emails, by the way, battlerapresume@gmail.com, and a little bit more donation-wise, and you can get access to episodes, Battle Rap Resume episodes, weeks, months before they come out. Also, check out the Redbubble if you want to pick up a shirt, you want to pick up a mouse mat or a shot glass, or they basically just print the logo on anything over there. We don't really get a cut of it, but I appreciate people are buying stuff over there, so thank you so much. But today's guest, easily one of the most requested guests, easily, one of the best battle MCs to ever grace this fine sport. Respek BA, how's it going, man?
What's happening, mate? How's you?
I'm well, man. I'm well. I'm just. It's fair to say as well, this isn't your kind of. You're more familiar with the podcast sphere as you would have been about a year ago. You and Theo do a podcast, right?
Yeah, but you know what? And that's because a bunch of people tell me I'm like too. I give off that impression of being unapproachable, is what I hear. So I was like, I don't think I'm unapproachable. Let me do a podcast with my boy, and people can see I'm cool. But then I think people think they can just come up to me and talk to me like Theo does, which ain't cool either. Do you know what I mean? I'm trying to find the balance just now, mate. I'm still trying to figure this shit out. So
no, fair enough, man. I'm sure we'll get into it later as well. But it's the Lowdown Shelter if people want to search it. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. I've been good friends with Theo for a long, long time. Like it was, I introduced Theo to film the first events. Like the first events he was cameraman at, which led him to being a battle rapper in the first place and shit. So I've known Theo for years and years, so that's my proper boy. So when he said, when we were talking about it, he was thinking about ways to build up his channel, and I was just like, yo, these fucking podcasts, bare people do this shit, they fucking can knock them out in 2 hours, and it's like quick content every week, and I was more than happy to do it with him, because he's one of my proper boys. So yeah. Guy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, great guy. I've had him on the show a few times now. Awesome. I mean, his knowledge and his enthusiasm, and obviously a sick battler as well, and just all that sort of stuff. But yeah, definitely check out the Lowdown Shelter. But I was listening to some of your music recently. I was listening to the Devil's Printer EP, which is awesome. And there's a song on there entitled Battle Me, which is a second track. And you state, you come from the era before battling was a cappella, pre-writing was the wackest ever, MC showed up and got paired, there was none of this taking 2 months to prepare. I mean, that's your shit, right? That's kind of where you come from. Yeah,
this like, the mentality for battle rappers can be so different between one to another, but that's me, mate. And some people might think, I've noticed recently, that my approach can be seen as silly by some people, because I take this shit serious. Like I don't like losing a battle. Mm-hmm. I think I'm the best, and I hate the fact someone be better than me. So that's my motivation. I'm not trying to like get hits on my videos or get a deal off a major or get attention from females, because at the end of the day we're all just hunter-gatherers out here trying to think of new ways to fucking lock something down, innit? Right. None of those reasons are why I do this, mate. I just do this because I think I'm sick and I want to be the sickest I can be and prove to people that I'm the sickest. Simple as that.
And, I mean, that competitive streak, were you able to exhibit that early on? Like, when you were battling, was there a scene, or was it quite sparse, or...?
When I started battling, there was already a scene, and like almost every major city had a battle scene, but it was like, it wasn't like the to-do thing, and you didn't really get promotion off of the back of winning them, but it was more just like, in the school of MCs, that's how you got the respect. So back in the day, there was like open mic battle events up and down the island, Scotland and England. And it was generally like 8-man freestyle tournaments. You signed up on the night. It was elimination brackets in an 8-man tournament, and the only place that got a prize was the winner. So I just used to enter these things in every city. I've entered 8-man freestyle tournaments in like at least over 20 different cities. And this is before I was 20 years old. So this is way back in the day, before any of the jump-offs I was doing that. That's what the jump-off came from, was that scene was still there. Do you know what I mean? Before the jump off.
Yeah, because we're going to get into Spin the Mic, which has kind of similar-esque format. But I just kind of want to focus on these early days a little bit because I'm kind of fascinated by it. So was there any cameras? Was there any of it recorded in any way? Or
every now and again, but it would be more like you bump back in, like say I was doing a gig somewhere like Newcastle, and then after the gig someone would come up to me and go, yo, I've got that fucking that battle you did against that guy when you were here 4 years ago and shit, like most of it unfortunately is lost in the abyss, mate, which is a true shame as well, because I don't know, I can't speak for the rest of the battle MCs, but I wasn't one of these guys that had my little fucking Rolodex of 5 punchlines and hit up every city fucking using them. I was a freestyler through and through, mate, so there's loads of good battles that are just forever lost to the nothingness, mate, but that's just how it was back then.
Yeah, and I mean, talking of forever lost to the nothingness, like, we see when battle phases transition, a lot of the guys from Grind Time didn't go into King of the Dot, or a lot of the guys from WOC didn't go to Grind Time or whatever. Was there a lot of guys from that era that just never came into the filmed era?
Yeah, 100%. Like, the only way I could show you a window into the sort of pool of MCs you're looking at and probably don't see no more is if you look at some of the names that enter Spin the Mic, or before that, Jump Off. I don't know if you're aware of Rap Gladiators. I battled Stig in that thing. It was called Rap Gladiators, and they toured Stig and Mike Assassin around most of the major cities in the UK as their 2 touring champions. And local battle MCs could get selected to battle them, basically. But if you watch the Rap Gladiator series and Jump Off, you're like, rah, who's this MC? Who's that MC? And there was just hundreds of them. But just the same as it is nowadays, only a few are built for this shit, and a few more than that hang around. Most people just do it for a little bit and then they're gone again. They tell their grandkids one day they were a battle rapper one time in it. So.
Yeah. I mean, as we're going to get into Spin the Mic, there's loads of, kind of why I found it so fascinating, there were loads of names, people you battle and otherwise, people like Chalk, and, Riz, and people you've never heard, you know what I mean? Who are these guys? But I know they were guys back in the day, but it's just interesting to see that. And we'll get to Spin the Mic, which was kind of a, antecedent, really, to the WRCs on Jump Off.
I'm spitting amusement. They tried to bullshit me out the last round because they don't want someone Scottish winning the tournament. Well, let me tell you, I ripped this bitch. He's sporting clothes 2 sizes too big for him, and he thinks he's spitting tight. I'ma show this bitch out a grip on mic. Damn right, anybody booing me must not be listening right.
How did you become aware of this? How did you get invited, that sort of thing?
Well, in 2000, it was either 2003 or 2004, Jump Off did an individual set of battles up in Glasgow. Like, they just used to sort of book themselves out after a while, off of the back of their name. They made their little gig money, but at the same time, local MCs got an opportunity to be filmed by them and compete for their brand. And they'd done a one-off battle event in Glasgow, an 8-man freestyle tournament thing, same as always back then. And off the back of that, they remembered me, and then they came back up with the Streets, like Mike Skinner, the Streets.
Right, yeah.
Because they had actually got themselves booked as the opening act for the Streets tour, even though it's just a battle. So, people used to go watch the Streets live, and the opening act was the Jump Off 8-man freestyle tournament.
That's so cool.
Yeah. And so when they came back up with the Streets, they hollered me, and they were doing 2 dates in a row in Glasgow. So I entered both of them, and off of the back of that, they kept me in mind for Rap Gladiators. So when they came back up a 3rd time, and they brought up Stig and Mike Assassin, I was one of the 2 MCs they chose to be a representation of Glasgow to battle.
Yeah, and Spin the Mic, you can watch some of it on YouTube. There is a lot of your battles and the battles on there. I want to give a big shout out to Ben, actually, who's a good friend of the show. He actually sent me the DVD just because he knew that I was just into battling, because I'd never actually seen the full thing before, and it has it's edited really well, actually. It's kind of widescreen shot, and it's shot...
Well, hold on.
Right.
It's edited 90% really well, except from the disrespectful editing choice, cutting the MCs off half a sentence into their losing speech.
Yeah, I was.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
they're like, I thought it was a great battle, but and then just boom, eliminated comes up on the screen.
Yeah, it does. It's
a fucking harm, mate.
Yeah, I've actually made a note of that. Yeah, that does happen quite a bit, and it is pretty shameful, actually. But the venue as well. This was shot in Mean Fiddler, which was the Astoria. Is that right?
I'm so shit at things like that. I just show up to places, do what I got to do, leave the place.
Right. Yeah, just because it was in a really cool venue, and I was thinking, why isn't this being used for? And I'm the same as you. I don't really know the venues that well, but
I do remember it was fucking gladiatorial, you know,
Yeah.
it was a four-sided stage, and that crowd, by the way, that crowd is like, I mean, fuck these like quiet folded arms, I'm not impressed by your performance, new school hipster neat crowds. Fuck that.
Yeah.
This was like proper ghetto, who the fuck are these mugs crowd from all four sides, So they could turn on you in half a bar, mate.
Yeah, well, it's funny actually, because when you beat Chalk, I don't know if you remember, the host basically says to the crowd, like, you guys are ridiculous, you were bullying him at first, and now you're cheering him as the winner, like, you know.
Mate, I find that host, I'm actually good friends with that host now, he's called Rap 6,
Right.
And I remember before the Spin the Mic tournament started, Rap 6 came up to me, you know, on the day, and he was like, you ready, yeah? And I was like, I didn't come here to lose, mate. As long as I don't go out in the first round, I won't be pissed off. Like, that was just my mentality. Like, no one is putting me... I'm not coming all this way and getting put out in the first round was all I thought in my head, innit?
Yeah.
And Rap 6 said to me, well, things are different down in London, mate, because that was back in the day where you were London or you were inferior.
Yeah.
For real. Like, I battled through all that. People forget that, but I battled in the day where it was hilarious that a Scottish person would try to rap. So I was fighting against all of that. So that's where all the competitiveness comes from. Because people used to just be like, Glasgow MCs, fuck that. So I was like, no, fuck you. I'm coming to London to battle. So...
And 25 MCs, it's quite an interesting format. It's kind of a bit of a freestyle format, but I mean, the title comes from the fact that there's a mic in the center, they put a GoPro on the mic, and the winner spins the mic, literally, like spin the bottle at, you know, old house parties and shit, and whoever it comes upon, you pick it, and you go first, and then you get to Chalk, and you do pretty much demolish him pretty much from the off, really. It's quite nice. I don't know if you remember, you actually big up London at the start, kind of thing. You show a little bit of reverence there.
Yeah, you know what, though? I fucking regret that, man. I'm never doing that again, because London don't appreciate that. London were like, nah, this guy's trying to get us on our side, bigging us up. Fuck him, you know what I mean? Maybe it wasn't the best style choice, but fuck it. I thought I'd say hello, you know what I mean? Yeah,
and more than hello, really. You kind of kill Chalk. You know, he's quite a diminutive guy, so small he could jump off the stage and commit suicide. You know, he learned to skate on an ice cube, this sort of stuff. But it hits really well, and you know, the audience kind of love you, and we go through that. And this whole tournament, there was killers, Stig, Mike Assassin, great people there.
I was going to say, seeing the freestyle era, there's probably a feeling that none of these written battle rappers will ever get to having, like... Obviously, you think you can beat anyone, that's why you're competing. But when that mic's spinning and it stops on someone you know is fucking good, you get you know what I mean? That's a feeling no one really gets anymore. That was like a on-the-spot thing. You had to be ready on that moment. If you weren't feeling sharp on that moment, you were fucked.
Yeah.
So,
different.
Very different.
Yeah, I mean, that happens with Mike Assassin and What's-His-Face, where What's-His-Face just bodies him, and everyone always seems surprised, because Mike Assassin in his interview afterwards says, you know, he thought this was going to be his day, but it's hard to be consistent, isn't it, Respek? I mean, you can be the best ever, but you can be off, can't you, I guess? Well,
because you're dealing with freestyle, it's like, how the fuck you supposed to have some fucking epic, horrible argument with your bud then being a mindset to freestyle? Or if you're broke, how can you not be distracted by that and freestyle? Like, when you're dealing with the spontaneous shit coming out of your mind, you know what most human beings are like on a fucking good day, so it's not the easiest thing to always do, but yeah, that's it, mate. I think that's what partially separated people in the freestyle era. There was a far smaller talent pool in the freestyle era for a bunch of reasons, and one of them being it's just a more finite skill, man. You just cannot find as many people that can do it at a high level. And I don't know what that boils down to, if it's like the professionalism or the consistency or what, but it just seems like at that top level back in that era, I couldn't even name 50 people. There would be a drop off in skill before you got to 50 people.
Jesus. Yeah. I mean, even in this tournament, where supposedly the best of the best are here, there's a clear divide between, you know, the certain higher level people and then people say like, you know, like Chalk or like Riz. And if you were to play this DVD to people, this tournament to people, modern battle rap fans, I reckon they'd recognise two people off the bat. They'd recognise yourself. And do you remember a very young Archaic was in this tournament?
Yeah, Arcade was there as well.
Yeah. And didn't do bad, but just kind of his interview, where again he gets sort of, you know, out slammed across his face and stuff like that. Like, he was kind of complaining about the crowd and it wasn't his style, and it was quite a harsh environment.
Well, that's one thing though you had to be ready for in that era, because one of the things as you were going, and say you were entering one of these open mic tournaments, you'd always be thinking, man, I hope it's not a fucking waste man crowd, because they are so important in those days as to how you do. So over time though, poor workman blames his tools is the stance I've taken over time, because I've made a crowd of drunk arseholes cheer for the bar, and I've made a crowd of people paying 100% attention, like could understand technical shit cheer for the bar. So as long as you understand how to cater to who you're dealing with, and in freestyle, that shouldn't be a problem. It's not like you come with shit and then the crowd ain't on the shit and you can change it. It's just like you have to vibe off the room when you're freestyling.
And we get to the final of you versus What's His Face. Like, had you kind of imagined that might be how it would go down in the end?
No, mate, I was taking every battle as it comes, but like I said, man, and I'm not saying, I understand, I'm older, I'm self-aware enough to understand this is completely subjective and may not be true in anyone's eyes but myself, but in my eyes, and I'm entitled to think this, on my day, no one can beat me, mate, so... Yeah, it's just the fucking mentality. So in the final, I wasn't thinking I was going to get to the final, but I was thinking I'm better than everyone in this tournament, because what's the point in being in a tournament if you don't think like that? Yeah.
And I mean, it's very, very close. What's His Face wins in the end, and £1,000 is the result, which is nothing to sniff at in any time in battle rap, let alone these early days. Like really, really fucking cool there. Do you remember his novelty check that he got?
His giant fucking special check, man.
His giant jump off check and all that sort of thing. And at the interview at the end, you say you deserve to be second and he deserved to win, but you're going to come back, which is the best attitude to have, really.
Yeah, mate. Obviously at the time as well, man, I was fucking had a lot of things going on in my life, and that £1,000 could have made all the difference as well. So that shit hurt, And then a fun fact, I got offered to do the spin the mic in America anyway, but due to other reasons, I didn't do that.
Oh, shit. Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, because that's that would have been great. That would have been great.
Check this. I'll leave this to you. I always discuss this with him. And I don't know if I'd have done the same thing nowadays. But young BA was such a respectful dude, I just made very good friends with What's His Face. He's still one of my best friends to this day. And Jump Off Hollow me, and they were like, yeah, we think maybe the crowd was a bit biased in the Spin the Mic final and blah blah, and we would like to offer you the opportunity to go with What's His Face to enter the American one. And I was like, right, that's a cool opportunity. Let me just, out of respect, make sure it's cool with What's His Face, because he won. And I phoned What's His Face, and I was like, yo, they said this, blah blah blah, and he was like, you know what, I kind of see it as my moment, and I would rather go myself. Now, to this day, I think he shouldn't have done that, and I wouldn't have done that. But he made that choice, and I just out of respect, never went to the USA Spin the Mic because of that.
That's crazy, man. That's crazy. Yeah, that's great. I mean, and I've only watched a little bit of the US things, but if I remember correctly, he loses to Ilmac. Is that right in the final?
Yeah, or the semi-final. Semi-final or the final, he lost to Ilmac.
Yeah. I remember Ilmac just has a giant statue, trophy at the end as well, and I think they're battling, so yeah, something like that.
And that's also a famous event because I believe a situation went down in that tournament that sparked the written era of battle rap.
Right, what went down?
Well, Iron Solomon caught the Saurus slipping outside with 3 fully prepared rounds, and this is true. I don't know if people know this, but see, if you're a battle rapper, at the time, obviously, we were watching the shit that was coming out from US, and I instantly identified what had happened there. But the general consensus was Iron Solomon just bodied Saurus, which is fucking hilarious to me. He never. What happened was, Iron Solomon was meant to enter Spin the Mic. Obviously, everyone knew he was going to be entering, so Saurus probably had some ideas for him. Iron Solomon pulled out of that, but then said, yo, I want to battle Saurus outside afterwards. Saurus was like, cool. Saurus shows up, bringing his little knife to a gunfight with his little couple ideas for Iron Solomon, should he face him at Spin the Mic. And Iron Solomon, if you watch it, has 3 fully fucking prepared rounds for him. So I think after that, everyone was like, fuck this, you can't be bringing a knife to a gunfight, which started the whole written era of battle rap. So whether you want to thank or say shame on you to Iron Solomon is up to you, but that was the battle that did it. That was a freestyle versus written battle from 2 top-level MCs, and obviously, like, Saurus didn't deserve to fucking be in that situation. That's not fair. So, Yeah.
Interesting, man. And the Spin the Mic was recorded January 16th, 2006. 2006 is, of course, another famous year in Battle Rap for the initial WRCs, to which you and Stig were trying to get into. Was that an obvious partnership? Because you, as well as What's-His-Face, you three really were clearly the really strong talents in Spin the Mic.
Well, that just came organically from after Spin the Mic. Cause Spin the Mic was the night where I met a lot of the London battle rappers, and I was doing a lot of work in London at the time anyway, because I worked as a hype man for a well-known UK hip hop artist called Blade, who's one of the first ever MCs ever in British hip hop. Had his first vinyl released in 1989 and shit.
Oh, shit.
So I was working for Blade, who's based around there. So I was in London a lot. So after Spin the Mic, I became friends with Possessed, What's-His-Face, and Stig. And we literally fucking transformed ourselves into, I think, a higher level than most freestyle battle rappers ever got to. Just because we hung about in a room for about 5 months battling each other all day, mate, like a boot camp.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh shit! So what?
There's videos of it. There's like 20 hours of What's-His-Face was filming it all. We always thought we could slice it into like 2 hours of the most ridiculous clips, and like I'm telling you, mate, like it was just bananas. Like for like 4 months straight, every day boot camp.
Jesus Christ! Where is this footage? Does he still have it?
Yeah, What's-His-Face has got it on many DV tapes.
Oh my god, that is so 2006.
Yeah, man, no, I'm telling you, that's like the ultimate for people that like rate that era. That is the fucking training footage that led to like our performances in the WRCs.
Jesus Christ, that needs to come out. Like, hopefully, like one day, like that could earn some money. Like, I think people.
It was ridiculous as well, man, because it wasn't like we paired off into teams and were practicing in the teams. We were going to be in the actual thing. It was a fucking 4-man free-for-all. One of us might just have fucking dipped out for a minute and went to the bathroom, and when they come back, 3 people waiting with like 20 bars each for you. What you going to do, mate? You got to get better. That's the environment.
Holy shit. And so, I mean, obviously natural that you two teams, Possessed and What's-His-Face and yourself and Stig, would kind of be duking it out there. I mean...
Yeah, and even though obviously me and Stig, they did take the L's to Possessed and What's-His-Face, I learnt a lesson that day, and whenever I take a lesson from a loss, it's cool, and the lesson learnt was I never perform well when I'm battling my friends. And I'll also say that I'm very proud of that day, because as a 4 of us, we went undefeated outside the shell all day. The only people me and Stig lost to was Possessed and Rain, and Possessed and Rain lost to nobody. So, as the 4 of us, we completely defended the castle. So, it was a successful day for the crew.
Yeah. It was, I mean, one person I want to ask you about, BA, just because he seems to be of around the scene at that time, and I didn't really know who he was. Ezra seems quite an interesting character.
Yeah, man, Ezra is a fucking interesting character. You know, he's got specific qualifications that puts him in, like, a specific 5% of psychologists in the fucking world or some shit.
Is that right? Because all you seem to rag on is his height. Yeah,
but he's a fucking tall bastard.
He is.
Christ.
So
he was your psychologist, you would need a ladder. I'm telling you.
Right. What was his discipline?
He's a big dude. No, you know what? That's a throwback from these open mic tournaments, man. Yeah. Your brain is trained to like. See, my brain is trained to like. If you're a pound heavier than me, you are a fat guy.
Right. Yeah.
If you are 1 pound thin, you know what I mean? You are a stick. If you're an inch taller than me, you're a fucking lurch motherfucker. That's just how it is, mate. Right. So as soon as you see someone you think he's this, he's that, he's this, start thinking of things in these target points. You know what I mean?
Yeah, completely. And,
yeah, but he's a cool guy, man. And to this day, my favourite bar of all time was in that Ezra battle, actually, that I thought of. Because I didn't... One of the best things that happens if you're a freestyle rapper is people come up and assume things are written sometimes, which were not, and it's always very complimentary, and no one has thought one of my things has been written more than one of the bars I had for Ezra, and I literally thought of it about 5 seconds before my round started. So.
And what bar was that?
When it says, you called Ezra because he flows like his name arse backwards.
That's
and
crazy.
To this day, that's my favourite bar I ever thought of in any battle.
That's insane. Yeah, you battled Ezra a few times, it seems, in kind of various configurations, but in the WRC...
Yeah, I battled him like 5 fucking times or so.
Yeah, and then in the WRC's one, which is the one I sort of focused on, you have a bar of yours again where people think, is this written? It has more of a freestyle quality. Fake pussy, what would happen if Jay Goody and Wayne Rooney had made Whoopi?
Yeah.
And you battled Ezra again. It's kind of a little bit more difficult because in today's modern age we have Verse Tracker. Well, I'm going off Verse Tracker, but we have sort of everything dated. But the jump off stuff's all over the place. For example, the Spin the Mic stuff from 2006 gets uploaded in 2008, so it's kind of puts you all over the map sort of thing. But what was happening after the 2006 tryout sort of qualifiers? You seem to just be on jump off quite a bit in 08. Were they just random battles or?
No, all of this was 05 and 06.
Oh, really? Oh, shit, really?
Yeah,
Wow.
all of this was 05 and 06. So they're re-uploads if they come up as 08, which is where the confusion is. Like, I don't know what the hits would actually be, and I don't know why Jump Off fucking did this, but seeing the inception of YouTube, there was lots of people that weren't convinced YouTube was going to be the one for monetizing and promoting and shit, so they were trying to redirect it back to the shitty videos hosted on their website and, killing themselves in the long run, but who knew, innit? So yeah, I think they re-uploaded them battles on YouTube as well. So them battles have had like 3 individual sets of hits to them over time. One when they first dropped on Jump Off because they weren't YouTube videos. Second time when they uploaded them originally, and now when they uploaded them again.
Yeah.
Fuck knows how many times they've actually been watched.
That's the thing. I mean, I had Archaic on a while back now, and he said the same thing. Like, they've got X amount of views on YouTube, but you can only imagine at the time what they were getting on Jump Off.
Well, I heard through the grapevine it was ridiculous, but yeah, I don't want to. I've recently just made cool with the Jump Off people, so I don't want to go into any details on that subject.
Sure. I'm hopefully going to have Harry on the show soon, so that should be interesting to
yeah,
maybe
big up Harry, man. He hooked me up with that little fucking Joe Pasquale thing the other week.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, what the hell was that? You and Press, right? Against Joe Pasquale?
Yeah, basically, Jump Off phoned me and they were like, yo, there's paid work, it's a day, it's a comedy sketch. But I talk about it on the Lowdown Shelter, actually. They took out the middle part of the sketch, was the part which got me interested. The middle part, it was meant to be like, the first part of the sketch, Joe Pasquale shows up to a rap battle, fish out of water, then gets told he has to battle. Then it was meant to be like, let's go back to Joe and see how he's getting on. And then it cuts back, and me and Press One are going in on him. And I was like, cool. So I get to write some bars for Joe Pasquale, and people will hear my bars. That's cool. And then the third part of the sketch is just like he's miraculously won the crowd over, and me and Press One are looking dejected or whatever. But then when they aired it, they took out the middle bit, so it's just like Joe Pasquale shows up to our picnic, pisses on our food, and we applaud him for it, because it's just like he's just like, I'm at a rap battle, and then they're like, you fucking battle, and then later on in the show it's like, let's see how Joe's getting on, and he's fucking won everyone over. So it's it made no fucking sense, innit? But I got paid, and it's essentially like I'm just a fucking extra in a sketch, though they didn't get to see any of my bars, but fuck it, Did you
have any multis off Pasquale?
No. Did you not see there's an additional video on YouTube called Joe Pasquale Gets Roasted?
Oh, I haven't actually seen that, no.
Oh, man, it was tame shit, we were just going for his voice and shit like that, man.
Right.
Try to see if I can remember anything I said to him for you, Jesus Christ. I said with a voice like that, your balls must have dropped upwards, simple shit.
Right, yeah. No, not bad. And just bit more on the jump off stuff briefly. There's a weird battle again with Ezra. This is kind of where I started to like Ezra quite a bit, actually, where it's you and Possessed versus Ezra, but the catch is it's in London Zoo.
Yeah, I know the battle you're talking about.
Like what? Okay, why were you doing battles in London Zoo?
Well, Jump Off were fucking always had to have a gimmick to their location. You know what I mean? They had us in fucking Primrose Hill at whatever time of night, just because it'll look gully in the footage, innit, right in the middle of this fucking park at fucking midnight or whatever, like completely unnecessary. But yeah, they just like to have a little gimmick to their location. They were wanting to do some daytime battles. They'd done London Zoo. Me and Rain went down to watch, and there was some fuck up with the other MCs that were meant to battle or something, and they offered us like whatever the poultry fee for being a battle rapper was back then. And because it's the freestyle era, you could just do things like that. I mean, we're like, yeah, we'll do it. So, yeah. So, 2 minutes before the battle, we agreed to battle just so they had a battle to film.
Yeah, no, fair enough. And there's some great stuff in here. Like, I love, Ezra says to Possessed, you're just vexed, you've got a complex like Napoleon. And then Possessed says, forget Napoleon, I'm giving your bitch part of my boner. which is just crazy. Like, fucking crazy.
Oh man, mate, possessed on his day is the sickest ever. To this day, mate, and I'm not just saying this because he's my friend, but to this day, there's not a guy, and you'll hear this. See, the more battle rappers from my era you speak to, you'll notice this is a reoccurring statement. Like US or UK, to this day, if he was still on it, I'd be fully confident he would be bodying whoever he wanted at King of the Dot and everything, mate.
Yeah, and we get into the next, I guess, logical phase of the... I mean, I guess to ask as well, did you excuse me for not being aware of this, did you try and get into the WRC 07, or were you not part of that?
I was asked to be in it, but I did not take part.
Was that just kind of you already done it, or what?
At the time, there was political issues between us and the company, and I don't want to go into it any further. Sure. But I just felt things weren't right at the time, and I'm one of these people that if things aren't right, mate, I won't be there. I'm not a desperate person. I'm never going to come crawling back. So,
And I'm going to sound like a bit of a philistine here, but my first introduction to you, BA, was presenting Don't Flop. That's how I first saw you. You know, I mean, I don't know how far exactly you go back, but it seems like pretty much since 09, 08 when it started. I remember you in O'Shea Pseudonym, which is a really early battle. You're sort of presenting that. Like, how did this affiliation begin?
Well, Don't Flop is a direct fallout of like the Jump Off era. You know, comes from Jump Off. Before that, like that first time I met her, he was 16 years old. And he was going by the name Scudsy, and he was a beatboxer at the time. And, you know, hung about in the house with me and our Kate battling and that. He got a first-hand experience, and he was a big fan, man. So, you know, that's just like, he was the generation behind us, and when there was no Jump Off, him and Kruger, the generation just coming through, decided to make their own platform in the place of it.
And
But yeah, I've known him for a long time now.
And what did you think about, just to go back slightly in time, their WRC run? Like, I mean, Zillion franchise, and then obviously they went on to have the pretty notorious loss.
Yeah, I thought they did well for themselves, man. Like, obviously, man, there's just something like much respect to them both, but just stylistically, I've just never been that big of a fan of Frankie Waps and Jay's Juice. So
yeah.
Like, and you know, it's no disrespect.
No.
It is what it is. But yeah, so I thought they took that, but you know, this shit's all subjective, man. Who knows how good Waps and Juice were seen as by the American judges or whatever. It is what it is. But I think they represented the UK well, aside from, you know, as famous rant afterward.
Yeah, the cunt speech, as it will always be known.
I mean, if you're gonna take it there, you might as well like get gangster and kick over a camera and punch someone or something.
Right. Yeah.
Don't spell out the word cunt.
Yeah. So, you know, you're involved in the league, like, kind of something different, wasn't it? Because Jump Off was very sort of, you know, patchwork, wasn't it? A battle in London Zoo, a battle here, a battle there. Whereas Don't Flop was like a league, you know, and what was it you being invited to host and stuff? Was that just to give it a sense of authenticity, or?
Well, yeah, and also, at the time, was like, my first battle for Don't Flop was meant to be so long ago because it was meant to be against the Saurus, and the famous time Saurus like came over and then told Customs he was there for a battle which they classed as work, so they sent him all the way back. And then the second time he had a personal issue right before he was about to fly, so can't hate on that. But yeah, so twice I was meant to battle the Saurus and it fell through due to things at his end. So yeah, then I got Elmac, and that was like my first Don't Flop battle instead.
And I mean, yeah, crazy battle that we're just about to get into, but it didn't actually go down at a Don't Flop event, did it?
No, it went down at the Beat Fighter event in Manchester, which is where Shorty Horror had his first battle against Disaster.
Yeah, crazy. Yeah, the League of Advanced Battlers, wasn't it? Lab or something, Lab Battles.
Yeah, Lab Battles.
He's a muck! Real G's probably want to beat him up, cause Shorty want to be a thug. But this geek's got nothing but dwarf snatch in his porn stash. You look like the start of Boy Meets World of Warcraft. Just another faggot rapper trying to cover up his past, but you're so upper class you were born with a silver spoon up your ass. And Saurus was your boy. Then you battled in person, and you stabbed him in the back for using U-bars, cause this faggot forgets them. Like that was mine. That was mine.
It sort of says in the intro there it wasn't possible for them to film it there, so they sort of took it out there and stuff like that. And they thank Cool Nuts and Executive Branch Management for providing the audio for this battle. I don't know if they're figures back in the day or whatever, but it's
no. You know what? I believe Cool Nuts is Immaculate's manager.
Oh,
because
right.
Check how fucking lucky this is, by the way. So Lab Battles was filming it on behalf of Don't Flop. Mm-hmm. Then Don't Flop get a call from Lab Battles saying, yeah, we've got the video, but we've lost the audio to the battle. And then, randomly, Mac's manager, Cool Nuts, was recording the fucking battle on his phone. And the audio on the video to that battle was off Cool Nuts' mobile.
Oh, shit. You'd never know, though. It sounds pretty good for, like, a 2011 phone or whatever. Like
That's what I thought when it came out, man. Because when I heard that all this shit had went down, I was expecting it to sound fucking terrible, innit? So that's not the first time, though. I've had one other written battle, which I recorded. It was the last one I did for that company, Badmouth, where I battled Joker Starr.
Yeah.
And, then I did a full written battle there. I was proper happy with my material, and the fucking video footage got lost. I was fucking furious, mate.
Yeah, that's such a fucking annoying thing that, you know, it doesn't happen in any other art form really, but battle rap can be quite consistent with that. You know, if it's not a lost angle, it's a whole lost battle, as you say. But battling Ilmac, I mean, at this time, you know, he was the 2-time WRC Scribble Jam champ, all that shit. A massive opponent.
Yeah. But I thought I deserved an opponent that caliber.
Oh yeah, no different. And in his first, I mean, he's not a bad first from Ilmac, but it's a bit tiresome, isn't it, when he mentions both Braveheart and Trainspotting?
You know what? Big up Ilmac. Ilmac has said things in battles where I've been like, that is fucking incredible. But maybe I'm just because I'm in this competitive mode. So keep in mind, whenever I talk about any of my prior opponents, I hold my hands up and say, I've fucking got an excuse for every one of my losses. I'm an incredibly competitive person, and my vision might be skewed because it's me. But me personally, I thought, you can do better than that, is what I thought when he was battling me. Because a lot of it was like, you know, just this is the only thing they respect about you, and brave. It just seemed like the obvious things. Seemed like easy things to get to. For a guy of his writing ability, I don't want this to sound like I'm hating on Ilmac at all. For his ability, I thought he could have done way better.
Yeah. I mean, I also want to say I'm a huge fan of Ilmac. You know, he's an incredible writer, performer. His legacy's, you know, remarkable. And, you know, he doesn't do bad. He sort of, you know, in his first, the end of the first, you know, the accomplishments that I've done, we need a 5-minute time limit, but I think this will suffice in comparison. You lost to What's His Face, I didn't.
Yeah, that was a good bar.
Yeah, that was pretty strong there, and I love your flip right at the start, because you notice that when people are cheering, they're banging the ceiling, and you just say, when you lot bang on the ceiling, he cries a second because he can't even reach it.
Yeah.
And then you touch it, and you're like, look at his face, he's jealous as fuck.
Yeah. That is something like, I was just in the vet. I showed up maybe like an hour before it. I met Disaster that day as well. Hold tight, Disaster. I was kicking it with Awkwards and Disaster. Then we bowled down to the event. And just the one thing I noticed from the two battles before my battle was everyone was smacking up that ceiling, and it was quite a low ceiling. And it's just like, you're battling Ilmac. That's got to be like the first fucking thing you think of. Like, I think if anyone was battling Ilmac that day, I would like to think they would instantly think of a short joke for that scenario as well. Like.
Yeah, it was really strong. And then you sort of play on something that Big K touches on years later as well, the kind of nerdy appeal of Ilmac. You take it more into a fancy realm. You know, he loves Lord of the Rings partly because the dwarves get the respect they deserve.
Yeah. I mean, I even hated on him for being in a gamer clan. You know what? I play fucking Xbox myself, so I shouldn't really fucking hate on him for it. I've never been in an award-winning fucking clan. I haven't said that, you know what I mean? But
is that true? Was that true?
I just wanted to, because I decided to take that approach because at the time I noticed his writing transition, and he didn't used to come across like that, and he was trying to make himself come across a certain way. And I was just trying to like smash through that middle, you know what I mean? So, yeah, I think he was trying to carry himself in a more like a street way, And I just wanted to fucking reel that back in a little bit.
Yeah. Shorty wanna be a thug, naturally. Boy meets World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
And then you sort of call him out. You talk about the Saurus battle, and you talk of his approach to Saurus. You called him out like a bitch for using lines that he got from you. I thought that's fucking rich coming from a borrower.
Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy. I mean, crazy shit here. And
so thank you.
No, I mean, yeah, really, like awesome. Like, you know, kind of Ilmac's put in his place quite a bit here, and he doesn't do too bad. Like, it's quite cool actually how the same thing you did about Tony, all that smoking weed from the Cannabis yourself, he has a Cannabis bar kind of for you as well, like, you know, which I guess it's battle rap.
What does he say again?
Instead of biting Cannabis, you should be lighting Cannabis.
Oh yeah. Well, you know, I can't even hate on that, because when I was coming up as an MC, like my two biggest influences, and everyone knows this is probably why he said this, he probably knows this, but Cannabis and Big L were the first two MCs that wrote material that made me physically, involuntarily fucking respond to how dope it was, and I always wanted to write shit that did that to people.
Yeah, that's the problem really, because I sort of come quite late into battle rap really, so post Cannabis, post the disaster thing, but he was the guy back in the day, wasn't he?
Man, fucking, have you ever heard these old shit?
I haven't really, no.
One of my favourite bars, check this, it's off a song called Buckingham Palace, right? He goes, I'm swinging a guillotine, because whenever the head is severed from the human body with a sharp enough weapon, the brain will remain conscious for 10 seconds, long enough for me to give you one last message, and when you get to hell, you can tell Lucifer I said it. That's the fucking nastiest shit, mate. That's how Cannabis used to write back then. An MC so sick I've got AIDS scared to catch me. Like, all these sort of bars, man. Lyrics so sick, creating scripts so sick I need to arm wrestle my pen to write it. Like, that's the sort of shit he was writing back then. Completely different MC to what he is now.
Right, yeah. I mean that as a fan, was it pretty hard to watch the Diz battle?
Yeah, man. And also because, you know, on the real, he's one of the... I've met so many people I respected in this game that have let me down as people. And I met Cannabis. Me and Blade were coming off Itch FM in London. And as we were walking down the stairwell, go back out, a guy was coming up with a Cannabis logo on his chain. I was like, no fucking way, you're Cannabis, because he was like my favourite MC for years, so I had the opportunity to meet him as well, and he was a fucking incredibly humble, respectful, cool guy. So it was nice to meet someone who I looked up to so much, who was actually safe as well. So yeah, it was double a shame, but I'm of the stance that as hard as it was to watch, he did that to himself, and I've got no sympathy for that. Whether it was the money or the lack of self-awareness, there was clearly a problem there. Whether, like, it must be so hard though if you're Cannabis and you've been surrounded by yes men for 20 years, people telling you that you're the fucking sickest, not to rest on your laurels. That's why I'm never satisfied. Like, I wasn't happy writing for Tony D. I wasn't happy writing for Ilmac. I wasn't happy watching the Tony D battle back. I wasn't happy watching Ilmac back. I'm never satisfied, mate. But I think it must be easy to get satisfied when you're successful. So, unfortunately, Cannabis came back a shell of his former self. It's the sad truth. And his lyrics were really basic. Some of them shit. Some of them, like, you know how some MCs just don't have that filter? You know how you have to sieve your shit through a filter? Like, there's just some shit that sounds stupid. But it's like he completely lost his filter with the first fucking 2 bars, mate. And, like, I don't know, man. There was all sorts of shit wrong with that performance. If I ever battled Cannabis, I would have to... I never thought there would be a day where if I battled the guy that I used to look up to so much, I'd have to break down to him what the fuck he's doing wrong. But, yeah. He did that to himself. But you have to judge people within the context of what they did at the time they did it. And there was a time where every MC looked up to him for those sort of bars. Yeah, that's it. And that's how I judge Cannabis. I don't judge Cannabis by him taking a payday and coming back and embarrassing himself. I judge him by the decade where he was first came into it, like 96 to like 2006-ish. And he was just seen as the Don, you know what I mean, for at least half a decade. So.
And in your second against Ilmac, you kind of continue the same theme. Lots of great jokes here. His inner child is bigger than him. His chick's such a slut, she goes swimming in the hepatitis sea.
Yeah.
Which is, pretty nice here. But in your third, you switch it up massively. You announce that it's a true story, and it's pretty much, it's brilliantly done. A sort of history lesson on American, Anglo-English relations.
Yeah, I did that. I did that at the time because, I don't try and make this something I do in every one of my battles, but if I think something needs to be said, I'll always be the guy to say it, as I'm sure if you've looked at my Zayn battle and shit, I don't mind sacrificing a round to get some shit off my chest, like. And at the time, there was still this stigma, like, we were still in the shadow of our American counterparts. You know what I mean? It just still didn't feel like a level playing field. It didn't feel like we had mutual respect, like some of us were better than some of them. It didn't feel like we had that respect yet. And it's just basically my commentary. And I'm not saying Elmac has this, but you know that classic American arrogance?
Yeah.
We run the fucking world. You're all our bitches. You're all stupid little European folks. You know, all that shit. Mm-hmm. That classic American arrogance. That was just a chin check to that. I wanted to chin check that in a verse. So that's why I wrote that verse.
Yeah, it's excellent verse. And the judging, wasn't caught on camera as thankfully we got the audio and the visual, but the judging wasn't. So we get the judging.
But all I'll say is the UK champion at the time and the KOTD champion at the time voted for your boy. So that's all I'll say.
Yeah. It was a bit suspicious. You have Lopeshi and Osa and Briggs.
I'll tell you what sucked, man. I'll tell you what really sucked. And you can call this firing shots or whatever. Fair enough, Lopeshi and Osa were cool with me before it. But out the corner of my eye, I saw them go up to Elmac and tell him he's their favourite MC in the whole fucking world. And I was just thinking, these are going to be two of the judges later. Yeah, like, I saw that. I saw those two votes straight away for Elmac because he's their favourite MC. They love everything he does better than anything everyone else does. Probably not the best two choices for 2 out of the 5 judges for an Elmac battle. But there you go.
Yeah. Bender and Tenshu go with you, and Lopeshi, Briggsy, and Osa go with Ilmac.
I'll let you handle the Briggsy side of it. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, oh yeah, that's it's so minor in comparison to these great duels that you've done. But yeah, we'll I'm sure that will resolve itself. So there's a few other interesting leagues that you battled on. You had 3 battles on Badmouth battles. Do you want to just talk to us briefly about kind of the position of that league in the Scottish scene? It was quite big for a time, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, it was started by my boy Gasp, who is in the B&MCs, which is the long-time crew of mine in Glasgow City. I always forget a name because there's literally been over 15 members of the B&. The B&. Started when we were all like 18, 19. Yeah. And unlike most of these crews, we've never dispersed, never stopped talking, never stopped being like a family, mate. What a crew's proper meant to be. That's what the B&. is, mate, a proper family. Mm-hmm. And yeah, so when Gas said he wanted to start up a battle event, and at the time, Don't Flop, I believe I was being lowballed off Don't Flop at the time. So I was like, fuck it, mate, I'll battle for your league. This isn't about... I just want to be a good battle MC. Mm-hmm. So I was happy to help my friend try and build his league,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. What do you mean lowballed by Don't Flop? They didn't want you to battle there, or...?
No, like... Okay, so... Before the Zayn, but I'm talking financially an opponent's offered.
Sure.
Simple as, mate. And like I said, this isn't about... I'm not a desperate guy. I'm not desperately trying to put my face places and need attention. It's not about any of that to me. So I was just like, fuck it. If that's what you value me at, I've got better things to do. Mm-hmm. So I went and did better things.
Yeah. And, first battle on Badmouth is against Joker Starr.
You were just one of these voices I used to hear on collab tracks as I sat back and thought, who the fuck is that twat? He's fucked this whole song up now. It was that whack. Suspect packages might as well have sent me anthrax. But in 05 and 06, I was claimed to the throne. You can take my name and engrave it in stone, but you made your name from affiliations alone. Too bad success isn't measured by the names in your phone, motherfucker.
Great battle. Really cool to see Joker Starr coming up to Badmouth here, sort of get into it. In your first, I was kind of surprised. I mean, I know it's an anomaly, but you kind of have a little bit of a trip up, don't you, in your verse?
Not a choke. You
No,
can't call it a trip.
it's a trip up. I'm not,
Yeah, you know what? I'll tell you what happens within that. I don't even know how many seconds it is, but what transpires in those seconds was, so I had a few freestyle flips for him, and then just when I was like, okay, the flips are done, roll into verse 1. For some reason, the first words in verse 1 were just out of my head, so I took a second to try and get verse 1. I couldn't get it, so I just spat verse 2. Then I spat verse 1 in the second round.
Right. Yeah, no, I guess. Yeah, fair enough. I love how you sort of flip his rainbow flag of a shirt. I don't know if you remember what he was wearing. But that was quite nice. And you kind of evoke the history of Joker Starr and how, he was one of the voices I used to hear on collab tracks as I sat back and thought, who the fuck is that twat? Fuck the whole song up now. It was that whack. I remember hearing Joker Starr on some Verb T stuff and stuff like that. He was the guy, wasn't he, back in the day? I mean, even now, but he was on a lot of good tracks.
Yeah, he was the collab verse, man. I remember, I always used to get UK hip hop, like a mixtape or whatever.
Yeah.
And there was always like a track with like Jest and a couple other people on it. He was always one of the other couple people, that want a bigger name as like the guy. You're like, oh, so and so's on this track. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it was sort of based on truth. I never sat there and thought, who the fuck is that guy?
Yeah. And do you remember Joker's first round, it's a good round, exclusively dog bars?
I'm personally not the biggest fan of it, but I can understand why some people like it.
Right, I mean, yeah, it's not, you're not of this pedigree chum, etc. But it's, it's not the most incredible stuff.
Yeah, man, I don't know what it is about this generation of battle rap fans, but you lot just love your Peter Kay puns nowadays, don't you? Like,
I know what you're saying. I mean, just what I love, Respect, is just the originality. Like, calling someone old is overplayed in battle rap, but calling someone old, so old that they get Viagra prescriptions delivered by carrier pigeons, like, it's just great shit.
Well, let me break something down, man.
Right.
You know how there's this always arguments about what the best style to use is in jokes over bars, and even within that, there's certain jokes that's like, nah, you can't say that's played out, jokes about that's played out. Tell that to a stand-up comedian. What makes something played out is its originality. If you can, and that makes it somewhat more impressive that you can take a subject like old and get fresh shit from it. Because think how many people have tried to think of old jokes over the history. So yeah, sometimes I think this shit goes over people's heads, how actually hard to process it. Thinking of punchlines that just aren't mathematically achievable by, breaking down a word and getting a pun out of it, or like, these are the other kind of punchlines that there's not really a math to. You just got to sit and be fucking creative with a subject matter.
And,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. And Joker in his second talks about, gets kind of violent, talks about cutting you down from 6'5" to 5'7", and then you flip it at the top of your third, saying that isn't even that much.
No, 6'2" to 5'7".
6'2" to 5'7", yeah.
That's only like 7 inches or something. Not that drastic. That's like the lower ankle sort of thing. You could get hoofs, you'd be alright.
Yeah. And just going in on his girl. She's his princess doesn't kiss frogs. She gives them tit jobs.
And goes dogging with dogs.
Heard she's been with soccer teams. If loose lips sink ships, then her pussy is a war machine.
Oh yes, yeah. And shout outs to Innuendo, who judged that battle, and 2 months later had a loose lips bar in one of his battles.
Yeah, well, it's funny actually, because Innuendo in the judging, I don't know if you recall, says it's one of the best battles he's ever seen live.
Really? No, I don't remember him saying that.
Yeah. He's effusive for it, and it is a brilliant battle there. Like, really, really good. And we get a little bit of a break, although not that far. So this is uploaded in August. The next battle is against Zayn, uploaded in November. Everyone remembers your third round from this battle, right?
Yeah, it caused quite a stir at the time. Mm-hmm. Even got an indirect blog off on like the official Don't Flop thing, firing all sorts of non-named shots.
Right,
you know what
really?
I mean?
Shit.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay, so I mean, we'll get into that, but not even a year has passed since you battled Ilmac, and now you're battling Zayn. But so much has changed in Don't Flop, really. We're post Blizzard, we're post Luna. Like, how did you interpret this? Was this the battle rap you knew and loved? Was it a whole new thing, or?
Well, of course it wasn't, man. But that's not to say, like, change is inevitable and everything. You got to roll with the punches in this shit. Otherwise, you just end up one of these old people that doesn't understand the world around you and don't know how to send an email and everything scares you, innit? It's important to always try move with things. That being said, that doesn't mean jump on whatever fucking style's fresh. Just fucking understand how things are moving. So I always think it's important to have my finger on the pulse. And I thought my commentary, if not was on the pulse, was slightly before it, mate. Because if it wasn't dead on for what was around me at the time, it was definitely prophetic for what was to come.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
In my opinion, and I'm entitled to say that.
Yeah, entirely. And I actually went to this venue. I didn't go to this event. Went to another Blam event, Night and Day Cafe. Quite a nice venue, wasn't it, in Manchester?
Yeah, it was cool, man. It was a fucking mad situation, actually. I have to tell you a story.
Please.
After the battles, I was having trouble getting my accommodation. So Zayn was like, it's cool, you can stay with us. So me, Zayn, the Don't Flop cameraman, I believe the guy that was making T-shirts that night,
right,
and another guy went back to this set of, like, it's like a hotel in Manchester, but half of the rooms are hotels, so you rent them for the night, and half of the rooms are like rented accommodation for regular people. So so all them lot go to sleep about maybe 2-3 a.m. and I'm a night owl. So even after they go sleep, I go out on the balcony because I love balconies, mate, even in shitty British weather, because I don't get to be on them a lot. I love me a balcony. So I was out on the balcony at between like 3 and half 5, just smoking spliffs and shit. And then I was like, fuck it, I'm just going to get the early train back up to Glasgow. And it was like, the train was like at 6:30. So I left at 5:45 or something. At about 6:20, I get a call from them, and there's a dead body in the balcony. This is true.
Holy shit.
A dead woman in the balcony. And they're all getting quizzed by police. Think how fucking stressful this is for poor Zayn Ezra. He's fucking in the country from Malaysia. But like, he's got to explain to the police why he's in the country for 2 days from Malaysia and there's a dead woman in his balcony. No. So basically, this woman, unfortunately, it's not funny, had been either pushed or fallen from further up in the hotel and came and splatted right where I was chilling 20 minutes before. So I was like, thank fuck I wasn't sitting on the balcony. Man, I would have never went on another balcony in my life, mate. Fucking we could be in Miami, fucking Hawaii. I'd be like, you keep that balcony door shut. Like, yeah,
that's fucking.
That's a mad little story, mate. Yeah,
that's crazy. Fucking hell. Yeah, that's absolutely insane.
I'm telling you, mate. I could fucking just from my experiences in hip hop, from like touring around Europe with Blade and all the other shit I've seen, I could write a mad book, but I'd have to change all the names and shit. But mad shit, man.
Well, I mean, hopefully you drop some gems on Lowdown Shelter here and there, like
every now and again. Yeah. Have you heard any of the episodes?
I have actually. Yeah, they're great. I mean, did
you hear the episode where Theo talks about where he met the guy that plays Jason?
I didn't actually know.
You know, Theo strangled Kane Hodder, the guy that plays Jason.
I mean, literally or jokingly?
No, literally, because he asked him if he could get a photo with him. And Kane Hodder goes, yeah, but I'm going to strangle you, because, you know, that's what he does in photos, because he's fucking Jason.
Yeah.
And Theo, being Theo, he's a real cunt, mate. And he said that he strangled him a bit too tough in the photo. So he said he was walking around Horicon all day, and it was just fucking with him on a pride level. Mm. And he said as he was leaving, he saw Kane Hodder, and he just got the impulse to fucking strangle him back, so he ran up and strangled him. and Kane Hodder was like, you want to be careful there. And Theo was like, you're in fucking Sheffield, mate. Don't be strangling me. You know what I mean? That's just one of the stories you'll hear on the Lowdown Shelter, so check that shit out.
I mean, urge people to check out the Lowdown Shelter, of course. But we'll get back to Zayn, and Zayn's quite an interesting prospect, isn't he? I mean, you'd never see someone like Zayn on Spin the Mic.
No, but what I will say is Zayn was very respectful in the process, and like I said, mate, all I want is to be perceived to be valued at what I value myself at. And the reason that battle went down is because I got paid directly from Zayn, a good fee for that battle. which is why I did it. But I was happy to do it as well, you know. And Zayn's a cool guy, and I still speak to him to this day, man.
Yeah, no, great. And I mean, obviously the whole battle's really, really good from both of you. You know, you have some great stuff here. The vajazzle, so the crabs can go to the disco, and you know, vintage stuff like that, really. But it is the third, and you know, you sort of talk about him getting his friend to add you on Facebook and sort of researching dirt.
Yeah, it's true, man. My boy Mike was like, yo, this guy just hit me up. He says he's a friend of Zayn's, and he said to make check this. This is a bit fucking weird. Just to think this shit goes on is weird to me because of the era I come from. But he was like, yo, if we have like personal info on each other, it'll make the battle better. So like, if you give us some dirt on BA, we'll give you some shit on Zayn back, and you can both work off it. And you know what's funny is I was aware that Zayn had Asperger's syndrome. How many times did you hear me say that in the battle with him? Mm-hmm. None.
Yeah.
And it's out of choice. And that's part of the point I was making in the third round is like, say I find out he's got Asperger's syndrome, and then I drop it, and the crowd are like, oh, that's not me being clever. That's like me substituting a good idea for a piece of information. And I've always disliked that about that. There was a trend where battle rap was getting very personal, and I was sitting watching it. I wasn't competing at the time, but I was like, rah, he'd have got punched for that. He'd have got punched for that. What the fuck? What the fuck? Like, for real, shit got really fucked up for a while.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people from my era wouldn't have been able to handle it, like on a fucking real level, you know what I mean? It would have got very serious. So I was just making the point that, like, yo, don't substitute skill. Don't fuck it. It's like accepting defeat in yourself and needing to fucking dig on people. I never dig on people, mate. Like, I just get the name Tony D. I didn't even watch many of Tony's battles, you know. Mm-hmm. I watched these last 2 battles. And then I was like, oh, man, I bet you someone's used this pun on his name or this pun on his name, and I got to watch all these fucking battles to make sure I haven't... You know, so that's why there's no name flips in the battle with Tony, because I couldn't be arsed making sure that no one else had done this similar shit. You know, all that fucking body tone deaf, all of them things. Right. I was like, I ain't fucking double checking all this bullshit, man.
And I mean, you kind of hit the nail on the head, really, in the middle of the round. 10 years, if you did, in reference to him getting research, 10 years if you did something like this and said something like this, you wouldn't fucking exist. Nowadays, battle rap is mostly circles and cliques of middle-class net surfers and dicks, and then quite blatantly you just say, thanks,
Yeah, well, I think that's basically the round that obviously caused a lot of issues. Yeah. And I don't know if this is true. Maybe Rowan can tell me nowadays that we're cool again, or maybe he don't want to talk about it. But I heard through the grapevine that while that battle was being edited, the conversation was, rah, BA's going to come across like a fucking bitter cunt. This isn't going to be good for BA. And then the battle dropped, and like all the American battle rappers were retweeting it on Twitter going, rah, BA's talking some truth and shit like that. So I think it got a different response, and from what I heard, people were expecting it to. I don't know if that's true or not, you know what I mean? Right. But yeah, I was just making a point, mate. And even though I did say thanks, that's sort of like, you know, the generation that came up with and that, it was just a different mentality of people, and everyone is welcome to be involved in battle rap, but I think opened the floodgates for a lot of people that weren't necessarily certified in different ways to compete, that maybe weren't up to a certain standard, and that's no knock on that's just how battle rap changed. But yeah, obviously started the company, so yeah, during that round he was the one that caught the bullet, unfortunately. But yeah. No disrespect to the company, I was just making a point. But yeah, obviously that fucking led to a bit of bad blood for a while, unfortunately, and Bamalam, who was working for them at the time, wanted to battle me. So I didn't get blackballed. I got offered to battle again 3 months later, but they only wanted to pay my travel, and I was like, no, you're all right.
Yeah. I mean, you versus Bamalam. No offense, Bam, you would have bodied him, right?
Well, mate, I think I'm better than everyone.
Yeah,
honest.
yeah. Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah. And, I mean, this kind of marks the end, really. I mean, you battle Gasp, and you team up with Gasp and battle Jinx and Mr. McKenzie on Badmouth. But then there's effectively a 4-year break. I mean, was battling still were you still practicing? Were you still going to tournaments, or were you sort of away from it?
Well, I'm always freestyling. I mean, to this day, I'm just as sharp, if not sharper. Like, there was also... It's on my YouTube channel. I entered the 8-man, just like back in the day, and I had so much fun doing it. I entered an 8-man freestyle tournament during that time as well, with £100 prize, man. It was like a throwback, mate. But see, when I did that, I felt like I was freestyling the best I had my entire life. So I think I'm still improving in that regard. But yeah, aside from that, what was it? Well, first of all, I don't think I wasn't getting the opponents or the fees I was happy with when I was getting offered to battle. And it's none of this really matters to me, mate. I'm happy to just fucking vanish. So I decided to work on other things, pursue other things that I was interested in for a few years, because to battle properly takes a lot of concentration, I think. So I got back into kickboxing, which I hadn't been hardcore into. Like, the last time I did any sort of regular shit was when I was living down in Norwich near Archaic, and basically like ended up doing lots of sparring. People that wanted to get sparring rounds in used to like pay me a $5 and used to spar with me in Norwich when I was staying there. So I got back into kickboxing, mate, and I'm like kind of OCD, so when I do something, I just fucking I can't half step at it, so I just fucking distract myself and got proper back into that. And at the same time, was just always writing and freestyling, but happy to be not active, mate. It's not something I need. It's cool.
And I mean, the fan in you, were you watching any battles at that time, or were you just completely in the other world?
Nah, there's loads I haven't seen, man. Like, even to this day, mate, I don't watch too many battles, I watch ones every now and again if there's a person I'm interested in seeing, or one if someone recommends it to me. But, yeah, I mean, there's so many nowadays it would take up most of your fucking time if you were to keep track of it all. Tell
me about it, yeah. Definitely. So if we get into the final battle, triumphant, glorious return, incredible battle, you versus Tony.
Rowan brought the dopest back, so be afraid. I'll amplify the threat when I grab you by the neck and start screaming in your hearing aid. You speak to Jakes. If he takes out his phone and presses a button, he summons police brigades like Streets of Rage. To me, BA's the highlight of your career. You had your time's up, and now it's time to disappear. And I won't give a fuck when your eyes fill up with tears like you don't with the child that mined that blood diamond in your ear.
How did this happen? Like, from, I don't want to say olive branch, but I mean, how did they reach out, Don't Flop?
Well, like, it hit me up maybe every 3 months or so, I guess.
Right.
And every time it was like, I don't know, there was just something not right, man. Like, to be honest, it was the names. Every time he gave me a list of names, and it's no disrespect to anyone that was on any of the lists he gave me, I was just like, I don't know what it was, but to me, it just felt like, it pissed me off, mate. It felt like no one knew what I was capable of, or they were undervaluing me or something. But I was coming at it from the perspective of, no one knows who you are anymore. But I also think that Tony battle disproved that, Oh, yeah. I mean, it doesn't take a lot to remind people who I am, even if I haven't been about for a minute. So, yeah, Tony was the first one where the opponent was actually motivating. I was like, okay, I've got mad respect for Tony. He's been a top level guy in the UK for years now. He's been a champion for a bunch of years. He's respected by everyone. He's an actual MC, and I love battling people who've got an actual body of work as well. Like, that's why I was proper into battling Joker Starr as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, just ticked all the boxes. I've got nothing but respect for Tony, and like Tony was the first name, even more of a compliment to him. He was like the first name I've been given in 3 years where I was like, actually, yeah, I will do that battle. He's like, MC, I'd love to battle. So.
And I guess in general, what is the approach to writing? Like, okay, let's say for Tony specifically, then, like, were you just kind of, you got your pen and pad? Do you just pace the room? Do you spend hours round by round, or?
I just write in my rhyme book, man.
Yeah.
I went through a period to try to be modern and putting it on a laptop, but I had a hard drive crash and lost about fucking 70 songs once. So man, I'm telling you, that was a dark day in hell, mate. Fucking, I learnt my lesson, innit?
Yeah. But I mean,
the process though is, well, obviously I think about how I want to approach it, but to be honest, as soon as I got the battle, I just started. To me, it's more about my mindset, mate, because I can write shit freehand, you know, sometimes. Like, just that track I put up, that Taijutsu, I wrote that shit like freehand in a fucking hour and a half, mate. And it's
an hour and a half? Fuck
yeah, mate. I just sat there with my rhyme pad and just fucking, like, no ideas, nothing. See, sometimes if it's a beat, for example, a beat proper gets me in the zone, I can freehand that shit like nothing, mate. So it just depends, but for me it was a mentality thing, and as soon as I got the Tony D battle, I was just like, I don't know, a bit fucking, I was just pissed off with how people remembered me. It was pissing me off, so I was pissed off through the whole writing process for that battle.
And I mean, it must have felt great before you even said a single bar. People are chanting your name.
Yeah, that's cool, man, but that's Scotland for you. Like, I didn't even show up with my crew to Edinburgh either. That was just the respect I got from the fucking people in Edinburgh, which was cool because I haven't been out there in fucking years either. But yeah, I mean, obviously my name means something in Scotland, man. So yeah, it was great to see that I still got that respect up in Edinburgh. Hopefully I'll get the same in London on the 40th. We'll have to see. Hopefully London haven't forgotten me either, and I'll get a similar response.
Yeah, I'm sure. And I mean, Tony does great nonetheless. You know, Tony does the sort of something sharp in my jeans, like a pocket knife and all. You know, just sort of very cute stuff here. Do you remember that guy screaming, "Stab that cunt"?
Of course I do, mate.
Well, you were there, I guess. Yeah, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, you never see my expression, but I straight away like shoot into the crowd, like, who the fuck just said that on my own turf? For fuck's sake!
Right.
Someone encouraging me to get stabbed. Jesus Christ! But no, it was all good. He was obviously just joking.
Yeah. And I love the whole stuff about his, because you say it's interesting. You say you'd only watch his two most recent battles. Obviously, one of them you watched was Pat. And you do the whole pulling out your rhyme book and looking like a total twat. Why didn't you just bring your whole desk along that you wrote it at? I mean, that's brilliant. Yeah. And I said this before. I did an episode just recently of top 10 Scottish battlers, and we were going through this battle. And one of the things that I really like when you assert yourself at the start of the battle, before you say a bar, you go into Tony's ear and just go, "Yo."
Yeah, I mean, I just decided to do that 2 seconds before I did it, just because. You know what? I feel like I was even getting doubted from people I knew, you know. Like, I'd heard through the grapevine, like, people who I would expect to understand what I was capable of. Like, some of my close friends were messaging me going, "Oh, you need to do your style like this nowadays and shit." And the first choice I made when I accepted the Tony D battle is, I mean, the fact that I was saying this on the Lowdown Shelter, the fact that there even is a current style to aspire to, like, that's the current trend, just shows how acceptable plagiarism of style is in modern battle rap. Everybody should have their own style. Theo said it best to me once, actually. He said, you know, BA battle rap used to be like Street Fighter, and now it's just like everyone's Ryu and Ken.
Right. Nice.
And to me, there is no timestamp on my style, because this isn't an 09 or an 06 style I use. You can listen to my music from 15 years ago, bro. And it's the exact same, multis, punchlines, bars, try to write sick bars. It's always been my style. It's my style. And I don't conform. And some people might even see it as a fucking brave choice, but I don't even look at it like that. It's just like, yo, you should be a representation of yourself, man. I ain't trying to be a URL rapper, or I don't ever watch someone and go, that's how you do it. Like, obviously, there's a mathematics on the actual basics of how to rap, but aside from that, you should build everything else yourself. So, when I came back, the very first choice I made was, I'm either if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, but I'm going out on my fucking sword. I'm not conforming. I'm showing people my style, and I'm going to be a representation of what I do. I don't want it to be confused as like a lack of self-awareness to the times, you know, like this fucking, I don't understand what it's about anymore. I completely understand the changes. This shit goes in circles. The style that's popular now was just like, if you watch like Fabulous against Cassidy and Freeway and, you know, them sort of battles from back in the day on videotape. Yeah. It's that sort of style. So, you know, I've seen all these styles, bro. So yeah, I'm aware of what the current style that's popular is, but yeah, my very first choice was I'm gonna fucking do me, and whatever happens, happens.
And I mean, bloody hell, man! Like, it's a crazy battle. Like, you know, I think clearly you take the victory. The reaction is electric. You know, the bars are sensational. I mean, you know, I've never really seen Tony really be like dealt with like that. Like, it was like the hand of a master.
Oh, much appreciated, mate. No. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's just like I said, I was pissed off writing for that battle, man. I felt people had no idea what I was capable of, and I felt disrespected by how people were sort of forgetting about me. You know, whenever people were saying lists or whatever, I wasn't on anyone's list or, you know, fucking who's your 5 favourite battle rappers. Nah, I'd just been completely forgotten about. And I was just like, these fucking cunts. You know, that was my mentality while I was writing. I'm going to show all these fucking cunts they have no idea what they're getting themselves into. So, whether or not that translated into the battle or not, fuck knows. But that was my mentality, mate. And like I said, I got nothing but respect for Tony, but as soon as I got the battle for him, you know, I was disrespecting him. As soon as the battle was finished, I got nothing but respect for him.
Yeah, and I mean, like, okay, so the Tony battle finishes, was the sense, because it went so well, I want to battle again, or were you just sort of basking in the moment? What was the feeling?
Well, the Dope Flop staff, like, a large number, actually, of the Dope Flop staff came up to me directly afterwards and all said it was one of the best battles they'd ever seen. Like, Bagnall said it was the best battle he'd ever filmed. These things are so complimentary. Obviously, it makes me interested in keeping on doing it. My mentality before I did it was, I'm going to see what the response is like. So the instant response was very positive because it wasn't just the Scottish people reacting to my shit. If you look at the video, it's not just the biased Scottish people chuckling to my shit and all the English people sitting there going, wow, this crowd's a bit fucking one-sided. Like, everybody has gotten themselves, Bagnall's got his jaw dropped, Er's got his face in his fucking elbow. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I was very happy with the response, and I wanted to do it again, but I thought, let me wait and see what the response is like when it drops. So that was the decision-making process, but unfortunately I was never given the opportunity of that because quite soon after I was getting offered this Serious Jones battle. So
yeah, and I mean, let's talk about that Serious Jones battle briefly. I mean, you've gone from one legend to the next. Some would argue that Serious is, you know, even more of a legend than Tony in a sense of historical sense and all that. And obviously, you just had an incredible battle. I haven't actually seen it myself with Disaster, King of the Dot. Like, as an opponent, is Serious Jones someone that excites you?
You know what? Tony actually excited me more than Serious Jones. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I don't know why. But I'm aware of what Serious Jones has done. He's from the same era as me. So, you know, while we were doing these 8-man tournaments over here, he was battling Jen across a pool table at Fight Club over there. So, yeah, I'm aware of him. And I think he's a good MC, man. Shout out to Real Deal, though, because the original thing was meant to be me against Real Deal, yeah? But unfortunately, Real Deal couldn't make that event, so hopefully that still happens in the future. But don't get it twisted, I'm still up for this battle. But yeah.
It's going to be fun. Yeah, I can't fucking wait. And I mean, the rest of the Checkpoint card, I appreciate you're not as up to date with this kind of thing. You were saying earlier that, you know, you don't watch that much battles, but something like Shocks versus Soul, is that something that interests you?
Well, it interests me because, you know, I don't know how much longer I want to battle for, but, you know, I'm interested to see what happens with the championship. I wouldn't say no if I got offered a championship match.
Oh man, regardless of who wins this, we need to see you versus Soul. We need to see that.
Yeah, but you know what? I've got a lot of respect for Soul, man, and I don't know. It's more that battle is very motivating to me if he's the champion. I don't want to just do it for the gimmick of it if he's not, like, you know what I mean? Scotland versus Scotland.
In Edinburgh. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah. It could be played out a little bit.
Like, if you understand, you know, my mentality, I'm so competitive. Yeah. Like, if I'm doing this, if I'm going to do this properly, I don't want to fucking have to grind or nothing, but if the opportunity presents itself for a title match, I'll take that shit. So.
Oh, fucking, yeah, that's what I want to fucking hear, man. And, it's going to be exciting as well coming back to London, I suppose. It's been a long time since you battled in London.
Yeah, it's been fucking ages, mate, since the jump-off street battles, or the WRCs maybe was the last one I done there.
Fucking hell. Yeah. They just changed the venue as well. It's going to be Concrete, which is kind of the classic Don't Flop venue of old as well, rather than being in Camden. So it's going to be awesome to see you out there. Obviously, everyone, don'tflop.com/tickets. Pick that shit up. But just before we wrap up, is there anyone else? I mean, you say you got that competitive nature. Is there anyone that you just battle out of kind of respect? Like, I mean, it might seem a little obvious, but I'd always wanted to see you versus Tenchu, for example.
Yeah, man, there's a lot of people I would battle just out of respect, but if you ask me off the top of the head, if I had to pick, you know, 2 people to battle right now, it would be Soul and Head Ice. And that lets you know exactly my mentality, mate.
Okay, yeah, loud and clear. loud and clear. And I guess just before we get right to the end now, your music, of course. I mean, we mentioned all the way back about the Devil's Printer EP, but how do people get at your music, man?
Well, I just put up a new track, Taijutsu, on my youtube.com/official Respek BA channel a couple of weeks ago. It's getting good response. I have a SoundCloud. If you just search Respek BA on SoundCloud, that's got some tracks which haven't been released. I also have both my first mixtape and my first album, which are The Secrecy Act, Death Dubs and Raw Roughs, and Wasteland of the Free. The full things of both of them are also listenable to on YouTube. As for actual copies, the only copies remaining are in my possession, and whenever I'm doing a gig or kicking it, I'll sometimes have copies to sell. So you got to get at me for an in-hand thing for those ones.
Okay, awesome, man. And obviously, everyone needs to go check out Lowdown Shelter as well. So we will we'll wrap up with a few quick-fire questions. The first one being your favourite Don't Flop battle.
Oh, fucking hell, Respek BA versus Tony D.
Well, obviously.
No. Fucking... Man, that's such an actual hard one to say.
Yeah.
That is a fucking impossible question, mate. I like to think I'm good in a quick fire round, but when you're giving me the spectrum of everything to choose from, it's hard to fucking narrow it down. Like.
That's fair. I mean, if we go a little bit narrower then, to King of the Dot. Do you have a favourite King of the Dot battle?
Damn. Nah, but there's a group of them, you know, but there's no one. I don't have a one.
I mean,
not one of these people. You could ask me my favourite film, I wouldn't have one. You know.
Right. That is actually going to be another question soon. So
okay. I got a handful.
Okay.
I've always got a handful. I just, you know.
Okay. Just before we get onto that though, URL. Do you have a favourite URL battle, BA?
To be honest, I don't watch too much URL, but I guess might as well be the same as everyone else and say Lodi Lux versus Calico, because I swear, like, if we're talking about things that set the trends, that battle was what set the trend for many rappers in Britain starting to use that style, I would say.
Yeah, no, fair. So, give me the handful of favourite films.
Alright, The Bait though, but I fucking love Shawshank Redemption.
Of course, man, of course.
Fight Club.
Yeah.
One film that no one never says, and it might be a bit bait and designed to win Oscars and shit, but I just love the story of Reuben Hurricane Carter. The film's called Hurricane.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah, the whole kids trying to get him out of prison as well, and like, yeah, it's nice. Yeah,
man. No, it's a sick film, man, and just the fucking struggle. I love that shit. And what else? I was shouting this out on Lowdown Shelter the other week. You know, it's quite a new film, but You know the Grindhouse with Quentin Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez. You know the second Robert Rodriguez's film, Planet Terror.
Planet Terror, yeah, with the gun as the leg. Yeah, good film.
Mate, I fucking love that film, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
fucking love that film. But yeah, I could keep going. But my favourite shit is anthology horror, which I talk about on the podcast all the time. Creepshow, Twilight Zone, the old school Twilight Zone. This film that came out a couple of years ago called Trick or Treat. Anything that's like little short stories. And that comes from the fact that, like these short stories are written very much in the classic urban legend structure where they've got a twist at the end.
Yeah.
Well, that punchline translates throughout the arts. In horror, it's like the twisty, creepy moment. In stand-up comedy, it's the joke. In battle rap, it might be the oh.
Yep.
In magic, it might be the how the fuck did he just do that? But all arts have this opportunity to create a reveal moment. And I've always been obsessed with a formula of how you get that reveal moment, because that can translate into writing punchlines in your bars, innit? So I watch stand-up comedy, and when they say a sick joke, I'm like, how did they get to that moment? How did they mask that? Because there's a skill to that. And same in creative writing with all these short horror stories and shit, like the twist. There's an art to hiding that until the last moment and shit, yeah, I love that shit, man.
Yeah,
love Creepshow, Twilight Zone, all of that.
Oh, nice, man. And just before we get to the final question, just curious, the name Respek BA, is there any meaning behind it? Where does it come from?
Yeah, well, BA, right? It used to be like British artists, because back in the day there was a disrespect from America, but at the same time it stood for 30 different things.
Right.
There was all sorts of things that fit into that acronym. And then over a while, BA just sort of became me and now stands for nothing. So I'm BA nowadays.
Yeah. And what, Respek, is that just respect British artists?
Yeah, respect.
Respect British artists.
Because it's all about getting respect to me. That's right. Fucking, even to this day, mate, I can't let go of shit. That's why I came back to do this battle. It was pissing me off, or came back to get the respect I felt deserved. So.
Oh man, yeah. You got it in bountiful loads. And finally, your favourite musical artist or band that are in no way hip hop related?
Oh Jesus Christ! For fuck's sake, no, I don't even have one. So, but I've got loads of random songs that I rate that you might not expect me to like. But the only sort of music that I search for is hip hop. So every other music songs that I have that I like, I've been introduced to, kind of thing, or randomly heard during a film or something. Do you know what I mean? But I like fucking the Pixies, Where Is My Mind?
Oh
and
man,
I like
from
fucking
Fight Club,
Leonard Skinner, Freeboard, and shit like that, man. Fucking. But I like. As you get older, you realise the only genres of music is good music and bad music, and you can't lie to your own eardrums. When you're young, you lie to your own eardrums. Nah, fuck that. That's fucking bullshit. But as you get older, it's man, if your ears fucking like something, stop being a little bitch to yourself. Don't lie to your own eardrums and just enjoy your fucking song, innit? So yeah, I like loads of shit, mate.
Yeah. That's some good advice. Good advice to end on, BA. But this has been this has been fantastic, man. I really appreciate your time. This has been a great episode.
No, much appreciated, man. Thank you very much for hitting me up for the interview.